Hi everyone. It's time for another short immigrant story. The first one, we went to the US where I learned to drive on the right-hand side of the road. Then we headed to New Zealand where I had a driving mishap with a poor old woman on a mobility scooter. Then we went over to Australia where I fell for a split second with the myth of drop bears. And this week we're heading to Canada. This story was actually requested by a student and a good friend of mine, Luciano, so here goes. I was invited by a close friend of mine to visit a couple of other friends in the autumn. And we were sitting on their deck and I heard trees applauding near me. So, applauding, clapping. And I had noticed it before. Walking around my neighborhood, there's the specific type of tree in Canada, and it has a lot of foliage, a lot of leaves. And when the wind rushes through those leaves, they move so fast together that they sound like applauding, they sound like clapping. And I loved it when I walked around the neighborhood because it felt like the trees were cheering me on. And a big gust of wind came through the trees, and I just looked at all three of the people that I was sitting with, and I was like, did you hear that? Did you hear the trees applauding? And they sort of looked at me like I was a little bit strange. And one of them, bless her, being Canadian and nice, was like, oh yeah, I can hear the applaud. And the friend that I came with sort of made the movement like I had been smoking something strong, which I definitely hadn't been. And actually since then I've seen those friends again, and the one said, we listen for that every time the wind comes through. We remember the applauding. The next few days after that, I started to think about whether I was weird or strange, because one of my friends had called me weird, and I was like, yeah, actually I am. And I'll say this, if hearing trees applaud you is a sign of being weird, I'm very happy to be weird, because it's just the greatest sound, and it's always amazing when you find something in life or in nature that sparks a memory of something else. So that's my story for Canada this week, is hearing applauding trees. Luciano, I hope you enjoyed this version of my story, and I'll see you all next week.